What's up, guys? Welcome back to Breakout Creator. I'm your host, Dominic DeTana, and today's guest is Jack Williams, also known as Puppet Jack on social media. He's got over 1 million followers online, and you probably know him best for being a ventriloquist, throwing his voice out in the audience on America's Got Talent, or you've seen his delayed videos where he throws his voice while he's talking to strangers. I can't do it properly. Anyway, we had a good conversation today. Really hope you guys enjoy it. Make sure to like and subscribe to this channel and follow Jack. Link is in the description. Enjoy.
I'm especially with like my main characters, I'm just like so afraid like I'll lose them, especially one of them's like super kind of valuable, and that's something in the ventriloquist world that I feel like a lot of people don't know is like how expensive these puppets can be. So I brought a small guy with me just because I'm just kind of very paranoid about losing my other ones. So this guy is I also wanted to show you and just anybody how easy it is to, if you have like a sock,
yeah,
exactly, something like that, you could, make a character with it. So this is kind of like the guy I bring whenever I just, want to like travel light, have a little like tiny guy, so he can talk like this, and he's, just a little hand guy,
Yeah.
Do you talk? Yeah. You do? Yeah. Really? Yeah. Okay. Hi.
What's his name?
He goes by Scrappy. Scrap. He's a little
name.
scrappy dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, scrappy dog. The scrappy.
Don't bite me.
I don't have any teeth. You do, though.
Yeah.
So do you.
Wow. How do you do that? I feel like I'm immersed in what's happening. I can't even pay attention.
Yeah, it's honestly, we'll talk to him through.
Wow.
It's just like a lot of practice. Honestly, I have been doing this since I was 12 years old, and
Wow.
It's one of those things that it's almost like riding a bike. I still do practice like every day to get better at it, and but it's almost like something that I feel like that comes second nature. Like this guy isn't like, he's not like a defined, he just looks dead now, like he's like a dead like rodent. I don't know, like he looks like roadkill right now, but
It does.
he's not like a defined character in my act, but I feel like just with doing it, it's like riding a bike, I feel like it comes second nature. I feel like I could, take any character and, put a voiut to it.
I mean,
basically.
if you feel like doing it, why not? I got those in, different places.
It's cool though. I like the designs,
Oh, hi there. Ooh. It's good to see you.
That's it's kind of a scary voice.
Oh, you think I'm scary?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, give me a smooch.
I don't want to give you a smooch.
I got my tongue just sticks out like that.
You ever do two at once? Because there's
Yeah,
that's like her husband,
yeah, exactly.
her boyfriend's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. I figured they're like, boyfriend and girlfriend.
This is a great
husband and
way.
wife.
Yeah, I like starting it like this. Just like an instant puppet show. Right?
Yeah.
I'll have to like have like two distinctly different voices. He's like just grabbing the bottom part like with his mouth. Does that look good?
Yeah. You're on the wider camera, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The one with the sign in the back.
Hey there, it's good to see you. Hey,
Hi.
hey,
Hi.
hey. The voices get kind of confusing.
Do they?
Yeah, do they? Yeah.
What?
This is like puppet inception.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, it is. What's your name? My name is Rocco. Or you could have like a
Kind of a Weasley voice like this.
Weasley.
Weasley.
I feel like I'm not great with doing like high pitched voices.
Okay.
just sounds like a scary baby.
Hello.
I'm like a mutant turtle hairy thing. You are? Yeah, I am. Yeah. I feel like the whole interview is just this now.
Yeah.
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 That's great.
Yeah. So
12 years old.
yeah, it's kind of crazy because I was watching, and I say this in my act too. I was watching an episode of Goosebumps, the 90s television show. and it was the Night of the Living Dummy episode. And
Oh, no way.
yeah, and I was with a friend, and I was in his basement. We were watching Goosebumps together, and I saw this dummy, and he was like terrified of it, and I just was looking at it like, I want one. Yeah, and I don't think that's a very normal thing for a 12-year-old to think, but I in my mind I was like, that's cool. I want one of those. And
It's like the opposite of everybody, all kids around the.
Yeah, exactly. Like most
I was
kids
afraid of that.
I don't want that.
Yeah.
But I actually that very night I went home and I asked my dad, I was like, Dad, do you have a ventriloquist dummy? I actually asked him that, just like thinking like, oh, that's a normal question, you know? And he looked at me and he was like, yes. And he actually did. Yeah. He had one from his childhood. He wasn't a ventriloquist or anything like that, but I'd say back then it was more, I don't know, it was, I guess, more commercially popular, like in like the 60s, 70s. Right. So he got this puppet that he just kind of had stowed away, and I practiced with it, and I'd scare my brother. And that's kind of really what all got it started for me, was him having that puppet.
Yeah.
Really, because it was like,
I feel like every dad has one of these puppets. My dad has one of them. Maybe not as well defined or something, but
yeah, it's so fun. Yeah, every father's has a puppet like in their garage.
So you became interested from Arlstein's show, basically.
100%. Yeah,
amazing.
And it wasn't even like the episode of like, I didn't even like kind of I kind of grasped that it was
like, what was it about it that
it just looked cool to me? Yeah. Like I was like, oh, that's like, it was like the opposite of like being scared of it. I was like, that's cool. Yeah. You know? And it was so funny because like, I thought when I started looking up ventriloquists, just different ventriloquists online, I thought that I didn't even know what stand-up comedy was because I was 12. Yeah. And I thought that was comedy. I thought that ventriloquism, that's comedy. Like everybody does that. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that's what got me into it. I was like, this is just what comedy is. And so later on, I found out that that was not the case. It's a very like niche art form.
Sure.
And I feel like that's kind of what made me, the more I found out that, oh, this is not like a common thing, it made me want to pursue it more.
So you started out by scaring your brother. And then what were you doing, like birthday parties? What was the next step?
Yeah, I did birthday parties and things like that, like school talent shows. That was one thing I did when I was like 13. I did the talent show, and that was really fun. I had this buzzard puppet named Buzz, and the joke that killed, like this was like in front of 13, 14-year-olds, was like, he was like, I think it was like something like
I just ate a cheeseburger, yummy.
Like something like that, like something so like basic, but everyone like, they loved that, you know what I mean? It was like the killer bit.
It didn't have like the internet wasn't as popular back then, so
no,
that was probably
it was
like the carnival or something.
Yeah, 100%. It was like seeing something like that live, especially because I'm from Indiana, so it's it's small town Indiana. Like people seeing that, it was something pretty unique.
Yeah.
And then what kind of got me into it even more was, and this is gonna sound weird, but like there's this ventriloquist convention where
there's a convention for everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's tons of conventions,
right.
But this is where over 500 ventriloquists gather and meet. And I always tell people, like, if you have a fear of dolls, run. Like, don't go to this place.
Definitely
it's all like people just have their puppets out. And I went with my dad when I was 13.
Wow.
And I started performing there at the junior open mic. They have like little open mics there.
No way.
I went for 7, like I basically went up until I moved out to LA. I moved out to LA when I was 18.
Okay.
And it was really cool because I kind of made it my goal to only go, like, kind of want to go back if I perform at like the big show that they have, because they have like the open mics and then they have like the big like Saturday night show where they have like the more known ventriloquists.
Sure.
And so this summer I'm actually performing there on the Saturday night show. So
very cool.
It was my goal of doing that. So I'm super excited to do that. And it's a super awesome place with really supportive people too, because it's such a weird art form that when you meet other people doing it, it's like almost like a family reunion. You're like, oh, you do this weird thing that everyone else thinks is strange. We're similar, you know.
Why do you think it's like a weird thing? Why do you say it a weird thing? You think? Like, is it
because
not accepted or something?
No, I think in a weird in different,
it's like not taught in schools, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a thing of like, I think people have fears of inanimate objects. Why? So I don't. I think it's totally valid too, because it's you're seeing something that's almost considered like witchcraft, like ventriloquism in the really early days before it was vaudeville entertainment was considered like witchcraft. Like it was.
No way.
I don't know if I'm saying this correctly, but I believe it was like actually considered you were conjuring spirits from your stomach. I'm not even joking. Into another like inanimate object. Whoa. And so it has a kind of like a dark lore like that. And then it was turned into entertainment and kind of what we know of it today. It's not like as dark as it used to be, but yeah, I totally get like where people think it's strange. It is strange. Like it's you know, you're watching a person.
It's very captivating, if anything. It's not
100%. And I think that's why in today's media it's so different, because it's you can't fake it, especially live. Like you could fake it, you know, filming a video, but it's obvious when if you were doing a voiceover or someone was to like do a voiceover, it'd be really obvious. Like I get a lot of comments on my videos, especially when I feel like I had my first few videos blow up, saying like, oh, this is a voiceover, you know, and I'd be like, oh, that's a great compliment, because that like means like it's so good you think it's a voiceover,
right?
You know, and I don't really get that anymore. I think because of being on AGT, it's like people see like, oh, he actually does this, you know.
We'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
So you coming to LA when you were 18? Yeah. Why'd you move here?
I wanted to pursue a career doing this, really, like since I was a kid, and I always knew I didn't want a traditional job, and I was like, you know, just like this is kind of something that makes sense. Move to LA, you know, do different comedy clubs, and I needed a reason to come out here before my parents would just be like, yeah, you can just move out to LA on your own. So I went to acting school. Like I was like, okay, I'll get an associate's degree for acting, basically. And they were like, yeah, at least you're getting it. Like I just needed them to have a reason for me to move out here, other than like you can pursue like comedy. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what persuaded them a little bit more for me to just like live on my own in LA, was to kind of get my bearings at a school first.
You growing up while you're between 13 and 18, how did you learn comedy alongside ventriloquism?
Dude, I'm still learning that now.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's like an everyday process. I feel like
just a lot of practice.
It's a lot of practice, and it's just like I feel like things I find funny, I feel like that's like always whatever is the funniest, because I feel like I've tried to like look at other people and almost like, you know, try to do what they're doing, but I feel like nothing's as funny as what you find funny. You know, nothing's going to translate as well if you're just trying to do like another version of something else, basically, you know?
Interesting.
So I feel like that's kind of always been like what I've tried to do, is what I find funny. And especially now, it's like I'm trying to do more like long form stuff, more live shows and things like that. So it's totally different than social media, where it's like social media, you have to be really short and like very like punchy with everything you're saying, you know? And it has to be like, it has to hit within like the first 5 seconds, right? You know, where it's like live shows, it's like you have an hour or 30 minutes sometimes, so you can just really take your time with a lot of that. Yeah.
So you moved to LA, and did you like, what was your first couple things you started doing while you were here? Like, what was your attack on the industry?
Oh man, my attack was just,
what was your plan?
Dude, it was just like doing open mics, like at like really small, bad like venues with like 3 people in the audience.
Okay.
So I had a buddy who I went to acting school with, who also wanted to do stand-up. He wanted to do comedy. And so it was really nice having him, because I didn't feel like the pressure of just going alone to these things.
Yeah.
I had a friend who would come and do it with me. And so we would just like, for one time I remember performing at a Korean barbecue with just like, it's like people were like eating in the background. Okay. And there was like one of those like portable like speakers and like a mic stand.
Yeah.
And I just remember like there was like 2 people in the crowd or something like that.
Yeah.
And I remember that the improv, like the Hollywood Improv, had an open mic. This same one they still do, and I would do that as well. And yeah, I would just hit up open mics until I got like bigger spots. I think I kind of got like better spots at the Ha Ha Comedy Club in North Hollywood. It's like literally called the Ha Ha Comedy Club.
Yeah.
And that was an awesome place to just really like try out material and kind of just become funnier and do it in front of bigger crowds as well. That weren't just like like small groups of comedians kind of just working on their sets basically.
So how did you go about learning and perfecting your craft as a puppeteer?
Honestly, I watch a lot of other older ventriloquists like tapes as far as like how they do it technically with how they move like their characters' faces and how they go about like the manipulation of if it's a soft puppet as opposed to a hard figure, which is like the more like dummy kind of like slappy, kind of thing where I have a soft character and a hard figure which I use in my act, and they're really, really different. They're both totally different. Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any like other like role models in this industry?
Yeah, I think I have a ton. I really like Willie Tyler and Lester. He is honestly, he was huge in the 70s, 80s, and as far as like just a dynamic relationship between like he only had that one character. Like he didn't have any other characters in his act, and he was just so funny. And I still like watch a lot of his tapes now on the Tonight Show and other things like that. I think Jeff Dunham obviously like is the most famous one
That's
now,
his name. Yeah.
and he kind of his name kind of goes hand in hand with ventriloquism. Is like you say ventriloquism or ventriloquist, that's like the first name anyone thinks of. Him and Darcy Lynn, who won America's Got Talent, I think 5 years ago maybe.
Sure.
Yeah, and so both of those names are really kind of go hand in hand with ventriloquists. They're the most well known, and as far as like somebody who's like also like technicality wise, he's one of like the best as far as like his delivery with the characters, making them seem super, super real. And I think that's something I've always tried to do is make my characters seem as like alive as possible, where it's like the voice is literally coming from the other, guy basically.
Right.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I'm 25.
Okay, so this is kind of recent. All this.
Oh yeah, I mean,
It's only been a couple of years
with all the social media stuff, and because I really didn't start doing social media until 2021.
Oh,
prior to that, I didn't do any social media.
Really?
And I kind of just made it my goal when I saw TikTok and everyone kind of gaining success off of that. I was just like, it's like anything. It starts off as like a hobby, and then you just try to like see kind of what hits basically. And that's kind of what got me really into it. And that's a whole story on itself as far as just like how I did social media and everything like that.
Well, for only being on there since 2021, you have 1.4 million followers. You've only posted 300 videos.
Yeah, it's wild because I believe because I had my first viral video in May of 2021, and
so that was pretty quick.
Yeah, and I think it hit like 700,000 views within like a week or something like that. And I thought, I was like, are people gonna recognize me on the street? Like that was my first thought. I was literally thinking like, are people gonna see me and be like that guy? And there was no like, it would be like some duets would kind of hit like in between months, but from like May up until November, it was pretty slow traction. But I went from like basically nothing, like a couple thousand to 100,000 from May to November, and then in November, this was like the wildest month. I don't think I'll ever have anything that like will top that month.
Okay.
Because that's when every single video that I posted for a week like surpassed like 3 million views. Like every video I posted like after every day, and those are still like my biggest videos today. I think like it was the delayed like street videos where I go up to someone and be like, "Hey, how are you? It's good to see you. Do you know where the bathroom is?" And they would freak out.
Yeah.
And now like some of those I think one of those videos has like over 25 million views.
Yeah. Wow. I just saw one earlier, 13 million views. I mean, it was quite recent.
Yeah, and
Maybe in December.
yeah, it's like
Crazy.
no, yeah, and it's so funny because I think I posted from 2021. I have so many drafts of videos that I didn't even use, and I just posted a draft like thinking like, oh, like, you know, maybe this will hit, and it was a video from a year ago, and it got 14 million views. And from November up until I think February of 2022, I hit 1 million, from 100,000 to 1 million in like just that short span of time. So I was like, I remember I was like eating dinner one day and I just saw like my follower count like hit like over 300,000 followers in a day. I was like, this is wild. Like, this is wild.
Yeah.
I still haven't had anything like that happen since then, but it's like,
That's still crazy.
it felt unreal. Like it felt absolutely.
It is unreal.
Yeah, unreal.
Yeah.
I don't even know how. Like, it's one of those things where I think at that time, I don't know if it's still going on TikTok now. I feel like at that time was like the peak for like everybody. Like there was like a huge surplus in like people gaining views and like followers. You know.
Oh, I feel like it comes and goes in
Waves. Yeah, exactly.
For sure.
I always feel like October through December is I feel like the best months
Yeah.
from what my experience.
That's interesting. Okay, was that correlated with when you were on America's Got Talent? Like, when did that happen in this timeline for you?
So that actually happened April of last year. That happened after all of that.
Okay, so before we get to that, then you coming to LA was like when you were 18. So you've been here for quite some time. Have you just been a ventriloquist for like full time the past 7 years? Like,
No,
do you
man.
do anything else?
I've had so many like jobs. Like up until now, I've had like day jobs and things like that. I actually when I was going to school, just so I could like, you know, pay my bills and like, you know, eat food and things, you know, things to live.
Exactly.
I worked at, it's just so funny. I worked at a gift shop outside of the Chinese Theater on Hollywood Boulevard.
Okay.
And initially, I didn't get the privilege of working as the cash register guy. I worked as a sign guy outside, like the $5 sign guy.
Okay.
So I had a microphone. I would have to stand outside on Hollywood Boulevard and be like, everything's $5. Come inside. Everything's $5. Come inside. $5. And I'd have to do that all day.
Wow.
And
So I probably have seen you. You
probably
did that for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, I did that when I was like for like 6 months when I was 19.
Oh, okay.
And and then I got to work, you know, at the gift shop, and it was wild. You know, the working on Hollywood Boulevard is it's unlike anything else. It's so wild. Like the people that are there on Hollywood Boulevard are wild. Like it's like, you know, even now I walk through it and it's like I get like flashbacks of working there. Like the CD guys, the costume people, you know.
They have similar people here, just like on Venice.
Those kids make a lot of money. It's kind of wild. Like
Santa Monica Pier, they have them.
The Spider-Man, especially, like one of the Spider-Man, I remember, like, I'd be like, how much do you make a day? He might have been lying to me, but I was like, how much do you make a day? And he was like, 600 sometimes.
Wow.
I was like, 600 a day for dressing like Spider-Man?
Yeah.
Wild, you know?
Asking people for pictures.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, oh, you have to pay me now.
Yeah.
I thought it was free. Yeah, it's a tip.
Yeah.
You know?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like a little scam in a way.
Yeah.
But all right, so was that your only job? Did you have any other jobs?
So I actually had a...
Did you go to school also?
Yeah. I you know, went to acting school, and I got my associate's degree, and it was an awesome. I feel like it was nice going to acting school because it kind of gave me like I was less like, I feel like I like was less shy because you just were surrounded by other creative people who also, you know, did something creatively.
Sure.
But you know, it's funny. I've been thinking about this a lot actually. This like specific moment that happened while I was in acting school, because people knew I was a ventriloquist like while I was in acting school.
Okay.
And there was like one class where I had to do Shakespeare, and I hated Shakespeare because it was like so hard to memorize those lines, man. It's
Okay.
Like, I'm like, this is like not English. I mean, it's English, but it's, you know, it's the words are really weird. And so I was trying to look at these lines being like, what is this? And the teacher would give me these long monologues, right? With like the main character, and you're not supposed to like call for line or whatever.
Okay.
And I remember I had to do this scene where I basically had like a few days to memorize like 4 pages of dialogue on the Shakespeare, and I just was like calling for line like crazy. Like the day of the performance, I was like, "Where art thou?" Line. Like I would just be like looking like at the audience, like line, and they'd like give me the line, and I just remember she was so mad at me because she had seen my videos. Teacher pulls me aside and she's like, "You have to decide right now. Do you want to be a ventriloquist or do you want to be an actor?"
No way.
And I was like thinking to myself, I want to be a ventriloquist. You know what I mean? Like that was like my like moment where I was like thinking to myself, I don't want to do this. I don't want to like have to, line, know.
I mean, Shakespeare doesn't really make it, easy.
Dude, and then I remember like she made us all watch the videos back and like kind of like judge the performances. And she was like, "We're not even going to watch yours."
Yeah.
I was like, damn.
Yeah.
I
feel like I had a similar experience when I was younger, like performing when I don't know. I didn't do very well.
Yeah.
At a young age, like, 5th grade play, I was like the lead and
it's like
I should have learned my lines.
Dude, yeah, no, I know. Well, it wasn't like a play where people like paid money to go see it. Like it was just in front of our class, and I'm really like serious as far as like the dialogue would be like 2-page long monologues. You know what I mean? I get halfway through, I'd be like, line? Like what do I just make up words?
What if you couldn't have just taught your puppet to do it?
Yeah, exactly. He'd like, hang on, guys.
Hold on, guys. I don't know this line.
He does.
Yeah.
But the thing is, she knew she was a very, very like smart, good teacher with Shakespeare. She knew the dialogue already, like in every play. Like she already had it all memorized.
Right.
So she would know if you were making up words.
Hyper-analytical.
Yeah, exactly.
Making up words.
Yeah. And so that moment kind of made me like, I mean, I still graduated and I feel like I did well in other classes and things like that. But I still remember that because I was like, I do want to be a ventriloquist. That's just something I feel like I'm better at than acting. And a lot of ventriloquism is acting. A lot of the act is acting and reacting. It's almost more of that than like stand-up. Like stand-up comedy is like an aspect of ventriloquism. Like there's jokes and stuff like that, but it's not as funny without like the reactions and things like that.
So did you have you been like going and trying to get acting gigs like at the same time as all of this?
Not per se acting gigs. Right now I'm doing more like live shows. That's kind of like my thing right now is like I am doing it's a good plug right now.
Where can people get
April
tickets?
1st I'm doing a show in Akron, Ohio.
This will have already this won't come out until maybe late April.
Okay, cool. So I've already done the show April. So hopefully it's gone well. And a lot of people are like, "Don't go to Ohio."
Oh no.
The chemical spill. But where I'm performing, it's 70 miles away from where that happened. I looked it up. I was like, maybe I will get
I don't know if that's far enough.
I feel like I'm gonna wear a mask, I'll find a Bane mask that I can put on or something, some very like powerful mask. But it's at the Akron Civic Theater, and it's kind of the first big show that I've done. So I'm really excited for that because I'm doing like my hour there, and
cool.
I'm also supposed to be doing this film show with my buddy Nick Green, who's a YouTuber, at the end of this month before that. So I'm excited to do that too, because that's kind of like what I like doing. I think I like doing that more than like acting. Is just my own thing, especially with like AGT and things like that. It's like that show kind of sets up people for live performance and things like that, really.
Do you sell any like courses on TikTok or online on like how to do what you do?
I did have a Patreon for a little while where I was just doing like longer videos on like kind of that kind of thing. But it's one of those things where now I kind of it's like anything where it's like you kind of have to I don't know how to describe it. It's like anyone could be good at it. You just have to really like you could like watch any video on YouTube, right? The basics of ventriloquism on like how to like on even somebody who's not a ventriloquist, and it's all the basic techniques. Like I could tell you right now, like you essentially use your tongue for every syllable, and you put it on the roof of your mouth, like right under your teeth, basically. So
Okay.
like this. Like you're talking like this,
Like,
and you're
okay.
talking like that, and you can see my mouth moving right now. But then what I like to do for beginners at least is you put your teeth together like this, and in a lot of ventriloquists they smile and they do the smile like, "Hello there, it's good to see you. I'm talking to you like this. But my tongue is doing all the work right now."
Yeah.
And then, but what I like to do to make it look a little bit natural is I like to mix like the smile with just a resting face, right? So if I'm talking, if my resting face is like this, my ventriloquist face is going to be the same. So it's going to be like, "Hello there, it's good to see you. Right now, I look like my face is just not, doesn't have any motion like this. This is like a calming."
I should have
face
challenged
smile."
you this whole time to not move your mouth.
Oh yeah,
Like,
that's how it should have started.
The
Yeah,
whole thing.
But yeah, that takes a lot of practice. But
Wow.
I always say, try to avoid the hard syllables like P, M, B, things like that.
Sounds like, a business to me.
It's-
Somebody would
it's
pay, like, a
hard.
membership to
Yeah,
keep learning from you over
I mean,
time. Like almost like guitar lessons. Like,
I know.
Yeah.
It's something I would like to do. I think right now I'm just really focused on putting like my own stuff out there. I think I'll probably do that a little
Sure.
bit like later after like all this stuff is done. But yeah, I've definitely had interest in it for sure.
okay, so then how did you get onto America's Got Talent? How did that happen?
Oh man, it's so funny because I had auditioned for the show 4 times before this. Like once when I was like 15, then when I was like 20, 21,
Wow.
22.
Wow.
And every single time it didn't get on. And this time I auditioned and for the producers and things like that. And it was like, it worked out so much quicker than it had before. Before it was like this long yearly process where they had kind of just talked to you for like months and months and months.
Yeah.
But this was like, I did the audition, and they liked it, and they, seen my videos on TikTok, and they were like, "We're filming with the judges at the end of the month on April." This was like, 2 weeks before it. And they're like, "Do you want to do it?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I was really like shocked by how quickly it all happened. But I was super nervous because, being on that show can ruin your career too. Like
Wow.
I mean, it depends on how you look at it. Like there's people who've been like done. I mean, I don't think there's really been anyone who's been like, actually take that back. I was going to say, I saw your episode of Scumbag Dad. And
Yeah.
I think he got all X's, but he's like super successful now.
Yeah.
So I take that back. I was like going to say, I don't think there's anyone who's been completely X'd, but it's obviously it's a really hard thing to deal with if you get X'd and like humiliated on national TV.
Sure.
So I was like, really nervous about doing that. I was like, maybe I shouldn't do this because, this would be awful. I'd have to deal with this forever. And,
It sounds like that, right? But like at the same time, you had your own platform.
yeah,
know-
I went with the mentality if I don't do it now, I might never get this opportunity.
Sure.
So I have to do it basically. And I'm really glad that I did because when I did it, I was prepping basically for the weeks prior, like every single day for like 12 times a day, just running the same like 3-minute act.
Wow.
And, I got there to the theater, and the night before I was, so nervous. I had only slept like probably like an hour.
Wow.
So I was like running on 0 sleep,
Sure.
no sleep, just pure adrenaline.
Yeah.
That's what I was running on.
Yeah.
And they have everybody like in these, holding rooms, basically. Everyone's like going over their act. Everyone's, trying to think of like, how they're going to do it or whatever. And I'm just so lucky that I got to perform on earlier in the day. 'Cause I think I was like one of the first sets of people the judges got to see.
Right.
So I wasn't like number 50 that they've, you know what I mean? I was
Sure.
like, I think I was number 2.
Oh, wow.
So I was like really lucky in that regard that was the second person to go on. And I had prepared like every single scenario in my head as far as like if it would suck, if it was going to be like kind of 50-50, if they were going to love it. And I just happened to like really get the best scenario possible. Like they all really liked it, and they gave me a standing ovation.
Oh, no.
Yeah, for the first audition. And it was awesome. Like Like the crowd was awesome, and I still think that whole performance felt like a dream, because it was like the hardest part wasn't the performance, it was like talking to them afterwards, because you have to like talk to them for a while before and afterwards, because you don't have any of that prepared. So you just walk right on the stage. Like Terry Crews is backstage, and he's like, all right, go, and you just like go, and you're like, this is it, like gotta go. And you just stand there while there's like 4,000 people just watching you in the audience.
Wow.
And then they're just lit up like right in front of you. It's like, hi, and that was the hard part, was just the small talk prior. I was like, I don't know what to do with my hands. Like, I was like, I think you could see my hands like in the beginning. I'm like, I have them on my knees. I'm like, hi, like what do I do? That was super nervous, because you're just seeing these people like Simon Cowell, like Sofia Vergara, Howie Mandel, like these super famous people. And you just have to be like, I'm having a conversation with you now. This is completely natural. And then they just let you do your performance. So that was something that I was really ready to do, because I had rehearsed it so many times. Like, I'm like, this is the thing I'm ready to do, is the show, because I've done this like a lot.
What was that character's name that you have on stage with you?
Foster. He's the one I used throughout the show was Foster. I liked him because he was like, just, he could move around a lot. He was just he was dirty.
Is he in an original character of yours?
I didn't make him. It was actually I believe I got the character on Etsy, and she she made him. And
so you're saying the beginning part of this was actually like a few minutes, and they trimmed it down?
Yes. Okay. Yes, exactly. Yeah, they talk to you, they kind of ask you a bunch of questions. You can see my hands are like, where, what do I do with them? And it's really, really trimmed down. I'm glad they trimmed it down, because some of my answers were so awkward. Like, I think I said, like, in one of them, like, I slipped up and I said, like, they were asking, like, do you have any like siblings? And I was like, yeah, like I think I said my sister brother. Like, I said sister brother. Like, that's like a word,
Sure.
And I'm like, I'm glad they cut that out.
Yeah.
There was even a beginning part of this performance that they cut out too, and I'm glad they did that too, because it's supposed to be only 2 or 3 minutes long. And
look how he's got so much motion.
Yeah, exactly. That's something I really like worked
very
on.
Animated
Was especially because of how big the theater is.
Yeah,
you want to kind of like play like all sides, basically. Like, you could kind of play like just the direct like view of the theater or whatever, but I wanted to get all of that motion. And for at least the first part of this act was a lot of what I had done in my TikToks. It was a competition between Foster and I doing like a hard word, or a hard like a tongue twister, basically. So what's so funny is actually this whole act was basically just a compilation of all these TikToks that have gone viral.
Right.
Like, the first part is me doing like, Sally sells seashells by the seashore, Sally sells seashells by the seashore, and then he does it after, and then he beats me basically in doing that, and I get that's the part where I do this, Sally sells seashells by the seashore, and then I forget, I'm trying to remember the lines, but I I'm like, I obviously can't do that without moving my mouth. I get mad at him, so I'm like, I'm gonna throw your voice. And there's actually people in the audience trying to catch it. Like, that's something I didn't even see. And I feel like I'm proud of this bit, because I'd never seen any of it, because
I've never seen that.
There's so many ventriloquist bits that have been done before. I had never seen a ventriloquist like take the voice and like throw it. So I feel like that's like something I'm like, I can definitely say like I've never seen another ventriloquist do that. And I have seen ventriloquists do this part where I have his voice and he has my voice, but so many ventriloquists. That's no singular ventriloquist idea,
dude. That is so crazy.
Yeah. And this is where I'm like, Simon, he's like, help me. And that's one of my favorite parts of that whole thing, because Simon's just like, yes, like he says it, like he's like, help me. And then they gave me standing ovation, and that was super surreal. Like, I didn't expect for that to happen. Like, when you get like all of them, know, that's like a life-changing moment. Like I was, obviously like so blown away by that experience. It felt like I was in a dream, really. Like, especially the conversation with them afterwards of that like whole thing. It felt like I was in a dream, legitimately.
Wow. That's awesome, man. Thanks for sharing that, going through that.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it was like that's so much practice, and the semifinals performance was even harder, man. That was like because I had to use a robotic, and I had never done that before. You know,
Like, I mean, use a robotic.
so I basically had this piece that I had gotten that was inserted in Foster's mouth, and I was controlling him from a distance with a remote. Should be.
These are only like your
Oh, these are my
most
TikToks?
recent. Yeah, just like 10. It just stops after that.
Oh, so I think that the semifinals is on YouTube.
Okay.
I'll
try to find it. Yeah.
I had this robotic piece that was put in Foster's like mouth, like here, and then I had him set up like connected to the stairs on the stage, and I had a remote that was underneath one of the other puppets that I had, and I had to control Foster while doing ventriloquism, and I had never done like robotic work before, and
Okay.
they were like, "Can you do this?" And I was like, "I can learn. I'll try." And like I learned how to do it within a month.
This one?
Yeah.
Second performance?
Yes, exactly. And I had learned how to do that. So I have a remote underneath his. That's why he's wearing pants. Is they're like, you need to hide that remote. I'm like, I'll put pants on him. You know what I mean? So I literally have like a bit about him wearing pants. He's like, yeah, I decided to dress up tonight. So he's like, I wanted to be fancy, so I decided to wear pants. You know? And yeah, I'm trying to remember the bit here. It's like, oh yeah. So I'm controlling him.
How?
With a remote under his hand, my hand right there.
Foster, what are you?
So my left hand is controlling him from a
Wow.
distance, basically.
Oh, that's so bad.
Yeah, so my hand, like I have a remote here in my hand.
Wow.
And he's in a distance. And it's same thing. I'm doing more of the challenges that I've done on TikTok, you know?
That word makes my brain hurt.
Yeah, and he basically
Say it.
steals the show by doing it as well. Yeah.
Didn't work? Or it did work?
Oh, it did work. So he's doing it without moving his lips, basically. Like he's like, oh, I'm doing it without moving my mouth. Like I'm a better ventriloquist than you, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I was actually worried because sometimes in the rehearsals, the remote wouldn't like sync with the thing moving his mouth, basically,
Sure.
the robotics. So sometimes, actually, every single rehearsal, it didn't work correctly, and it only worked on the live show. That was
Wow.
the only time it worked correctly.
Wow.
So I was like so nervous that like this might not work at all.
Right.
You know? And
That's so cool.
and this part, it's so funny because I walk down stage, I
Okay, this
have the remote in my hand. You can kind of barely see
it's
it.
impossible. It's your hairline. Okay, you know what?
Yeah, he makes fun of my big forehead. And I grab him from it, and
Challenge.
when I pick him up, the remote drops out of my hand, and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna ignore that, but no one noticed.
Yeah.
You can't talk at the same time as me. I can't.
Like it's on the ground right there. You can kind of see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no one noticed that, you know.
Wow.
And yeah, so then basically he does.
Challenge. Can you take Foster?
He essentially takes my voice again, and he takes Simon's voice, which I'm not like, I don't like claim to be like an impressionist or anything like that. That was just something that I think they thought would be funny for the show, and I was like, I can try to like do a Simon Cowell impression. I'm not like a claimed impressionist.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So I had to like try to learn a Simon Cowell impression within the month, and I think it like went okay. Like it's a very like generic, basic Simon Cowell impression, and
Is that
yeah,
happening?
that's when he does it.
Let's hear.
Or, how about someone random, like, I don't know, Obama?
The Obama one I could do okay.
It's me.
This is me
Drawing.
drawing
A red lot.
a red lot.
This is my singular silence. Thank you.
Yeah, so yeah, he's silenced, and I've luckily Simon's like he's always liked. That was the craziest moment of the first audition was after the performance. in the like dressing room where they take you and do like an interview afterwards. I was sitting there, and this isn't on camera or anything, but I was sitting there and I just hear this voice. Like they're talking about Terry Fader, who's also an amazing ventriloquist. He had won the show, and I think at the second season, and I was talking about his contract in Vegas because he got a 5-year contract and for $100 million.
What?
Like, yeah, and I'm like, yeah, like I'm like that guy has $100 million, and I hear a voice from the door, and I hear a voice say, "Try 300 million," and Simon Cowell walks in. And he just like he walks in, and he just was like super.
Wow.
You know, he was like, "Oh, you did a great job. Like, I think that was a great performance." And I just was like, he's just like, "I think you're really good." And I was like, I didn't know what to do because I was sitting like kind of like this doing an interview.
Okay.
So I was like, I don't know if I should stand and shake his hand but I just like was in my seat, just like saying like, thank you.
Yeah.
I was like, well, what do I do in this situation? And yeah, he just like, gave me a compliment and left. That was it. And it was super surreal. That was like probably even cooler than the audition.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the goal, you think, to like get a show in Vegas one day?
Yeah, honestly, I hopefully I will. I know that they have a show, AGT Superstars at the Luxor.
Okay.
And it's a big show, but it's usually because I only made it to the top 5 in the semifinals, and they usually only put the finalists in that show. Sometimes they have semifinalists do like a week there or two. And I think sometimes they even have like acts that were in the semifinals do like the year-round show. So maybe sometime next year I might get a part of that, and that would be obviously sick because it's like a super,
Or you could do like your own Netflix special or something.
Exactly.
Right?
That's why I'm excited to film this thing at the end of the month, because I get to just put out some stuff that I definitely wouldn't be able to do on AGT.
Right.
Some really like
raunchy stuff, like
mixture,
dirty
I'd say.
stuff.
Yeah.
Really?
Mixture. The thing is, I don't swear in it that much.
Sure.
But it's definitely like humor I find funny. It's not like it's not super raunchy.
Right.
I think I swear like maybe once in the whole thing. So I'd say it's like a hard PG-13 basically. And I think that's like a good line to be. It's not like too crazy, but like just enough where I think like adults can find it funny and kids could find it funny too.
Is there like a kid's version of what you do, like a kid show? Do you have a kid show?
No, but like I think if I were to do a kid show, I would just do what I did on AGT.
Bring Scrappy.
Yeah, exactly. I bring Scrappy. I would just do the AGT act because that's in a lot of the act. What I'm doing, what I'm filming is like what I did. Like it's parts of what I did on AGT, because I kind of want to give people like, oh, so they saw like what they saw on TV, they could see it in person, and a whole new thing as well.
Cool. Who's this character? What's his name?
So that's a funny story with him. Is this was an old character, but I have changed now. He's a new character now.
Okay.
So he used to be called Sugar Daddy Marv. And that was his name.
And his voice is all the way down here. He talks like this, like Sugar Daddy Mob.
And I decided to change his character for this act that I'm doing, and I'm going to be doing in the future. His new name is Jackie Diamond, and he is a famous Las Vegas one-liner comedian.
Yeah.
So he's the king of the one-liners. Okay. And I think in one of my newer videos, I think on my page, you could see what he looks like now. So he looks pretty totally different now. He looks more of like a kind of like a 70s comedian who
Pull it up.
right there.
Yeah, there he is.
Exactly. So that's what he looks like.
So now his voice is kind of like this. It's similar like tone, but he's got a little bit more of a Midwestern accent.
Like that. So now he has hair, basically. That's the biggest difference.
You gonna do it? Yeah, okay. Watch this.
Oh.
A, C, okay, go.
I think that we might be getting feedback from something else.
Dude, I the ventriloquism, I can do 5 voices at the same.
What?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
It's like 4 voices overlapping each other.
Have you ever done that? What's the most puppets you've done?
Dude, there was like
voices?
a concept I was going over that I almost did on AGT, but it was so difficult to do. Like even in the rehearsals, I was like, it was similar kind of what I did in the beginning, was like I had 2 different voices.
Yeah.
It was like one, then mine, then the other one, then the other one, then the other one, then the other one, and it would get faster and faster and faster.
Sure.
It was just so hard not to mess up. You know what I mean? Like sometimes I'd switch the voice, and I'd have the deep voice, and the other one would have the high voice.
Yeah.
And it's just so much to think about. I mean, that's like legitimately like juggling,
Yeah.
And even now with the show that I'm doing now, I have to think about like breath control so I don't lose my voice by the end of the show, because it's just so much like vocal energy that I'm like outputting. I'm like, I have to take these deep breaths in between, you know?
So, how about, can you describe like your creative process when it comes to designing and creating your puppets?
Yeah.
And, you know,
I like to, at least with him, I wanted to have kind of a more like I think the character of Sugar Daddy Marv was funny, and I liked like him as like kind of a more raunchy character, but like he's still kind of like, they're both not good people. That's the thing. Is like I think what people find funny is characters that are very flawed, in my opinion. So he is like a guy who you know, he's not really aware of his surroundings. His jokes are very kind of not really thinking about other people. He's just like kind of thinking about himself in a lot of scenarios. And he just, you know, he has like a kid that, you know, like a bit in my act, he's like, yeah, like my kid's, he's 18 and I let him just live on his own. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember when I was 18, I left, live on my own. He's like, months. He's like, yeah, he's 18 months. I let him live on his own.
Come on.
You know, he's like that kind of guy. So I like to think of somebody like who is like starkly different than me and kind of go from there to have like just a completely, because you want those opposite perspectives of you, or it's not as funny. Like if the character's just like you, there's not going to be like a funny dynamic.
So
But
what about Scrappy? How did you come up with Scrappy?
Scrappy is he's just a scrappy dog. Like I said,
Where did you find him? Where is he from?
He's from a place called the Puppet Heap, and they make really super cool puppets. Like they have like really unique ones. And like I said, he's not a fully fleshed out character like Foster or Jackie Diamond, but he's definitely like something that could be in an act or
Like
something
his
like
tie.
that.
His
Like
tie is cool.
Yeah, hello, scrappy dog. Hey, I could have that accent, couldn't I?
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, hey, I like your setup. You mind if I take something home with me?
No.
I'm gonna take it.
Oh, I don't know if you could
Am
carry
I
that.
gonna, am I gonna catch something?
Yes.
I thought so.
That's why I did it. Okay.
That's why I did it. What do you think makes a successful puppet?
I think like having like, you know, it's having like a very different voice than your own. That's like number one. And that's like my biggest criticism about my semifinals performance is my voice was like super kind of shot from just rehearsing so much. I didn't even think about like the basics of the performance. I think in the long run, I think it was a good performance, but if I were to change anything, I would have really made like sure the voices were distinctly different, because when I watch it back, I'm like, oh, like I just wasn't even thinking about the basics. You know what I mean? I was thinking about all the robotics and everything else like that, you know? And to this day, I'm like, yeah, you have to have a distinctly different character voice and personality, you know?
It's so interesting. Just your perspective versus my you know, I'm just watching it like I'm just enjoying it. You're seeing all the perfectionism of it.
Yeah,
You want it to be perfect.
Yeah, it's,
Really.
with especially
art.
dude. With some of my, I think the most viral video that I have is me saying, "Can you say poor Peter Parker without moving your lips?"
Sure.
And I think I did that. I shot that probably like 7 times before it like looked perfect.
Right.
You know, and to this day, even on my Instagram, like I posted that like a year later to my Instagram after AGT. Like I hadn't even posted that video to Instagram, and that's my biggest video on Instagram too. It has like 6 million views on Instagram.
Yeah. Are you on any other platforms also besides Instagram? Are you on YouTube?
So I just started doing YouTube videos where I just am going over my rehearsal process. Like the videos have no views because I'm just trying to do like the long form.
Found it.
Yeah, exactly. So right now I'm just doing my rehearsal process and showing like my subscribers like how I rehearse basically. And I'm just have my notebook in hand. I'm just memorizing each bit, and I'm like, I'm gonna do this show at the end of the month, and that's it. But yeah, I think it also helped because like that Spider-Man movie, No Way Home was coming out like I think right around this time, or it had just come out, and so I think that's another reason why this video did so well. And also P is just such a hard letter to say, like poor Peter Parker. You gotta go and you basically you like what I say in the videos, you replace it and you do Tor Teeter Tarker.
Yeah.
Tor Teeter Tarker, Tor Teeter Tarker, and then you think of the letter P, and I did the lizard's voice, so it's like Tor Teeter Tarker, Tor Teeter Tarker, Tor Teeter Tarker, then add the voice Tor Teeter Tarker.
Wow. What?
And that's it. Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
but it's not like I'm like doing that like anybody could do that. You know what I mean? It's like obviously like a lot of practice. You know what I mean? Like,
I can do that.
yeah, do it. No.
Darker.
That was it. That was essentially it. Yeah.
Well, so besides AGT, did you have another like favorite performance that you did? Like maybe earlier in the day,
You know,
in your
honestly,
years?
it's so weird because I still think to this day that I like before social media, I don't think I worked as nearly as hard as I do like now on like ventriloquism or just like any art form. Like I think I had good performances, but I just didn't work as hard. Like I think social media taught me to work a lot harder. For some reason, I think it gave me like way more of a routine because like the times I had auditioned before for AGT, I didn't really like rehearse a lot for the auditions. Like I think I maybe rehearsed like a week prior. But for this, like for social, when I was doing social media, I think it gave me this discipline of like I'm basically rehearsing every single day when I post. You know, like I'm rehearsing, I'm posting, and I'm thinking of something new all the time. So when I was prepping for AGT, like I said, I was rehearsing like 7 to 12 times a day.
Yeah.
And the same act, 2-minute act, all like every single day. And I just didn't do that before. So it's like I think my other performances that I did when I like first moved out here before I did social media were like okay. I think they were decent, but compared to like me now, I don't think it's just like anywhere close because I just didn't have like the same work ethic, And I'm like now I'm just constantly trying to just get better basically and have like more of a like a better work ethic in rehearsing and just being better,
Did you ever experience any sort of creator burnout since you've been doing all of this?
Dude, yeah,
like TikTok and social media?
Like right now, I feel like I am like with videos at least because it's like doing live stuff is totally different than like just posting short form. It's like it's like it's like a marathon as opposed to like a sprint. Like when you're doing social media, it's like how many videos can you get out? How's your output? You post every single day. There's going to be like probably a hit within a month. That was always my thing. Is like if I post every single day, there's probably going to be 1 or 2 viral videos within the month. You know what I mean? And that usually worked too. Like now I barely post on TikTok at least because I just was like, it's mainly the creator fund where it's like, you could get like there was like 1 month where I had like, 30 million views in a month and I got like nothing for that. You literally virtually nothing for that.
$600 or something.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I'm like thinking to myself, these live shows, they're just like, you get like, to do what I want to do, which is do these live shows and you get more for that. And so like now I feel like I'm kind of burnt out with just the content that I've been doing because I feel like it led me to being on AGT. And now I'm like, I have to do something totally different. So what I really want to do is kind of like what a lot of comedians do is they just post clips of their act or like their crowd work and they have like the subtitles. And I think that'd be pretty cool for a ventriloquist. So I think I'm going to do something like that.
That would be cool.
Just like clips of, because it's different. It's like a different kind of medium. And
what's your act going to be like with for your show? Like going to different cities or something?
Yeah, I mean, I would really like love a residency because I don't really like flying on planes.
Okay,
it's something I just hate. I just don't like traveling that much.
Okay,
so if I could stay in one spot, whether it be LA, Vegas, somewhere warm, if I had my choice, that would be amazing. Like I would love to just do a place like.
I feel like Vegas is just ready for that.
It's the place. It's the the ventriloquist, the magician.
What do? You just go knock on their door and say, "Hey,
dude,
here's my portfolio."
I've been, it's one of those things where you just gotta like, I think you just gotta reach out as much as possible and see who kind of. But it's hard. It's a hard market to get into.
It'd be interesting if you lived in Vegas because then your videos you were posting would show to people in Vegas.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. Like right now, I think I am just hoping for something like that to happen. Doing like whatever shows I can get right now, and just thinking of different videos to post. I think that's what I'm doing right now. Is just thinking of those different and posting things that I think are like funny, basically. Because I feel like I've run the course of like the challenges. I've done so many challenges, ventriloquist challenges, where I feel like
Parker.
I've done every.
You did every word.
I did the challenges on America's Got Talent. I can't like get any higher than that, basically. know? So now I'm like, I just got to put out like, cause my show, how I'm doing it is it's almost like a play in a weird way. So it's like, it's a mixture of a comedy and a play, I would say, because there's elements in it that there's definitely like drama.
Does it have what's his name? Oh gosh, who was that actor? No, we were talking about it earlier. Shakespeare. Does it have Shakespeare in it?
Dude, no, I would no. I'd scrap the show right away if it did. I'd be like, I'm sorry, I'm not doing this. Yeah. No, but it has like surprises in it. I would say. Like you'll see. I think it's something different that I've never seen. Like I said, I like to do things different. Like a lot of ventriloquists, they do stuff that ventriloquists have already done before because it works. You know, bits or little like the the thing like that on America's Got Talent. You know, like the robotics. That's ventriloquists have done that before. You know, some people think that's like
I've never seen that before.
A bunch of other ventriloquists have done it before, and when they were like, "Oh, this is like something we want you to do," I was like, "Hey, I've never done this before, but I can learn it. I'll try." You know, so I think like I'm proud of myself in the sense of like it was something I had never done before, and I had to learn that like in a month. It's like crazy that even happened, but now this is like all like at least with what I'm doing in this show, I think it's a pretty unique concept, and I'm trying to like it'll be fun to like put it out once it's done.
Okay, so we got through your show a little bit. We talked about creator burnout a little bit.
Yeah.
Do you have how many times did you say you were posting a day, like on social media, like
when
you were starting?
When I was starting, it was every day. It was like every single day, once a day, I would say.
And were you posting on all the platforms too, or
just TikTok?
Just TikTok.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I feel like I'm just like very like a one track kind of like guy, like where I'm like focused on one thing at a time. I like put all of my energy.
Right.
Like when I was on AGT, I didn't post for a month, like leading up to it, because I just wanted like all of my focus just to be on that audition.
So when you were posting like that, did you have like a routine, like a schedule?
Oh yeah, I would post at 12 every single day.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'd like to figure this out with different people when they're on the show, just to hear like how they get over burnout. Basically, like, do you have like do you go to sleep at the same time every night? Do you not? Because we have to be like our own bosses, right?
100%.
So
I think like
how are you managing your personal life?
I feel like when I first was getting a lot of like views, it was really foreign to me, and it was like really exciting. So I didn't sleep as well. Like I just was like constantly thinking about videos, constantly thinking about like what could I, because especially in that period when I posted like this 7 videos within that week, and every video would surpass like 3 million views or 2 million views or whatever it was in a day.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, I have a lot of people watching me right now.
Right.
And I knew that this was a moment in time that wasn't like gonna last forever, So I was like, I really have to. Now I sleep a lot better just because it's like I feel like less pressure. But I feel like I don't know. I think when I was posting consistently, if anyone else like wants to do TikTok or anything like that, I feel like it's like you just have to have a consistent schedule and try to post every day at like the same time every day, And like, I don't know. I think it's like, especially in the beginning, I didn't like think of it like a job. Like I just thought of it like I'm just going to post these videos that I enjoy posting.
Yeah.
And if they do well, that's good. If they don't. But then it's like, I feel like later on, like now it almost kind of feels like a job. I don't know why. Like I feel like now it's almost like, oof.
It does.
Gotta post again.
I know.
Like I gotta post this challenge.
Hilarious video.
Yeah, exactly. Where that's why like I enjoy doing this live stuff now. It's because it's totally different, and it's something that like there's real like creativity in that. You don't just have that confines of 60 seconds.
Yeah. So I see a lot of creators doing this. Well, they'll kind of hit their main stride on social media, and then they'll branch off and figure out the next big thing for them. I mean, it's always cool to watch.
100%.
See what you're doing.
I feel like if you don't do that, there is like real bad burnout where you just are unsatisfied with your daily life. You're like, I'm a fraud, like you get like.
Speaking of which, do you have any like other hobbies besides this that you like to do?
This is gonna sound really weird.
Okay.
I never really like read that much growing up, and I've just kind of gotten into reading.
Right on.
So I've just been reading like every single day in the morning.
That's awesome. What are you reading?
I just finished this Rick Rubin book called A Way of Being, and that was really good. It's just good for artists. It's like kind of almost like meditation in a weird way. He's got a very like soothing voice.
Yeah.
And that was a really good book. And yeah, so I've been doing that every day, and I've been trying to hike more in the Hollywood Hills.
Right on.
Just been, doing that stuff because I feel like you got to stay active because sometimes you could just like be cooped up, in your apartment and, you're not
gosh.
living life,
Wait, speaking of cooped up and everything, have you ever like had like a almost, what are they called? Like not a superstitious moment, but what's it called when you talk to yourself? Like one of those moments, like schizophrenic moments.
Oh
You
yeah,
ever-
yeah. Like where I'm like where the puppet's just talking to me. Like,
yeah, like you're sitting down, like the guy from, oh my gosh,
Slappy?
Sorry, some Spider-Man.
Oh yeah. Like
How he's got the
yeah,
lizard, doesn't he?
Venom, right?
Is it Venom? Or I
Yeah,
thought the
'cause
lizard
Venom
talks to himself too.
Well, Venom, I think it is Venom because it's like Venom is the voice in his
Right,
head.
right.
He's like,
Oh, I need to tell you this.
See, like
Do
sometimes
this.
you think in your characters, like
oh, all the time. Yeah, like when I write, that's like the best way to write is, and I feel like I learned that like within also like these last 2 years too. Sometimes I'd be writing from my perspective, and it's not like as funny as if you write it. You have to get in the mindset of these kind of like degenerates. You know what I mean? Like, because you're like, I saw something with Larry David the other day where he's like, yeah, the funny things, and Curb Your Enthusiasm are, the things that aren't supposed to be said out loud. You know what I mean? Like, so he says all the wrong things. Like he was like talking about a mourner, like, oh, this mourner, I got to deal with this mourner right here. I don't want to I hate mourners. You know what I mean? So it's like, you have to think like a degenerate, and you have to think like just a person with a completely different view of yours. And I even think in the voice too when I'm writing. I'm like,
like maybe you should have a nickname like Rusty or Skip, because my insides are made out of rust.
yeah.
like I have to like.
It reminds me of a lot of improv. Do you ever take an improv class?
In high school, I was on the improv team, so
Yeah.
that was fun.
So there's a guy, Eric Artell, I gotta connect you with here. You don't know him already.
Yeah.
He runs an improv class.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I loved improv.
So
It was so much
awesome.
fun.
Yeah.
And that's like some of the most fun moments like in performance, I think, when I was doing like comedy clubs and things like that, was the improv, like just if it was like with an audience member or somebody in the crowd, or even like on AGT, like there was like moments, like I think in the semifinals in the end where Terry Crews was interviewing me, and it was like improv, and that was like it got like almost like a bigger laugh than my act itself. You know what I mean? I was like, oh, maybe I should just improv the whole thing.
Yeah. Okay, I want to bring it back now. Have you ever had a performance go wrong or not as planned, and how did you handle that?
Yeah, I had like one show where it was, I've had a bunch of shows that just, the vibe was off, but it was usually like, it's usually like with a lot of comics, like, in the room, like, it's just, if people aren't relating to it, or it just is like a wrong vibe, the worst show that I ever had was actually when I did, because I tried doing stand-up a little bit too. I just tried doing solo stand-up, because ventriloquism was the first like creative thing I'd ever done, but I tried acting, and I tried doing a little stand-up too. And I just remember I like went on stage, and it was just in Indiana when I was like 16, and I like went on stage, and just, it was awful. Like, it was so bad. Like, I just remember I did a joke, and somebody in the audience was like, what? Like, right after the joke, their response was, what? Like, that's the worst response you could get from anybody. What? And I just remember I invited like my friend, like his family came, and it was like I bombed in front of his family.
Oh, wow.
And I just remember I'm like, I'm never doing this again. And luckily ventriloquism has worked out for me, and I feel like I haven't had a bomb as bad doing ventriloquism that I have had doing like stand up, which is funny. But I have had I performed in front of open mics where there's 3 people in the room or 4 people in the room, and I was like, oh, if I get like 1 out of these 4 people to laugh at one thing, that I consider that like not a bomb.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
that's like a pretty good ratio.
How about advice that you would give to someone who wants to, like, what advice would you give to someone who wants to pursue a career in puppetry in ventriloquism?
Don't. No, I'm just kidding. I'd say, yeah, I'd say you just really have to like love it. I mean, you have to like have like a real passion for it because people, not a lot. I mean, there's some ventriloquists who, you know, get into it later in life, into their like mid 20s, late 30s, and they could even have success then because it's like you have to just genuinely like have a passion for it and you have to want to be better at it. It's like anything. Like you have to find like that thing that you think is, because ventriloquism, it's such a unique like niche art form that you have to want to be better at it. There's so many bad ventriloquists in the world. Like probably only 1% of ventriloquists are good. Like I'd say right now there's probably only in like the United States alone, I want to say there's probably less than 50 working ventriloquists in the world. Less than 50, I would say. Yeah.
They're not a ventriloquon? Ventriloquon? What do they call
no, a lot of them do come. Like like the ones like the ones that are performing, I'd say on like the Saturday night show or like they call it like the All-Star show are like the working ones.
By the way, when is that? Like where is it?
It's in Kentucky. I'm not sure if it's in Fort Mitchell anymore.
Okay.
But I believe it's the week of the 12th through the 16th. I think it's the Saturday within that week.
Of March?
Of July.
Oh, of July.
Yeah,
okay.
of July. Yeah, I'm really excited to do that because, you know, there's lectures where, you know, famous ventriloquists do lectures every year.
Is it like an expo?
Yeah, I mean, well, yeah, you can, exactly.
They have like new tech?
They
like
have, yeah, exactly.
Tech?
They have a dealer's room where there's just all these puppets and different kind of like tech things as well. Yeah. Stands and things like that. It's cool because it's so hard to find that stuff online that you can just see it all there in person, basically. And
you like walk in the room and there's like just puppets talking to you like as you walk by.
Yeah, dude, there's people who for the group photo, they do a group photo every year, and they do it in the parking lot of this hotel. And there's all of like ventriloquists, like 500 or 600, all have characters out.
Whoa.
Yeah, they all have their own characters, and it's cool because the biggest ventriloquists from around the world do lectures there. Like Jeff Dunham and Darcy Lynn, they usually both come every single year.
Cool.
And show up, and it's like kind of like the homecoming. So yeah.
What do you think the future of puppetry looks like?
I think it's really good, honestly. I think with especially like with America's Got Talent, it's kind of had this really big like resurgence of it. Like especially like in, like I said, doing the long form, because I think there's a shelf life of it on TikTok, right? Like if you could, there's ventriloquists who just do it on TikTok and that's it. And then it's like, that's kind of like where the ceiling is, right? Is just TikTok. Going past that is like AGT and then live shows. And that's like what I'm trying to do is like, you got to get past like the ceiling of like TikTok, basically.
Yeah.
You know, because you can only go so far on that.
Sure.
And I feel like I've reached, like you said, like I've reached that ceiling, and it's like after AGT, I want that like that progression, basically.
Right.
And I think the more people that reach that level, especially after being on America's Got Talent, because I think it's just really good for ventriloquists, the more people will do it because it just inspires more people, more kids, especially because like so many kids watch that show, and you know,
like who knows who was watching that show that was inspired by you?
Yeah,
you know?
dude, I remember
many?
there was some kid who came up to me after the show and asked for a picture, and that they were like, you know, really like complimentary of me. And watching my audition back, it was the person in the audience, the kid who was like catching my voice when I threw it.
No
I
way.
thought that was so funny.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's cool.
They were all technically in my performance too.
That's amazing. That's awesome. Hopefully, you know, one day you'll look back and have inspired him to.
I hope so. I really hope so. I mean, that's like,
awesome.
It's awesome. Yeah. When
who knows how many people you inspire through TikTok? You know, I'm over here practicing this.
Yeah, the challenges and all
the different challenges you do whenever you.
It's fun. It's like I like to, you know, practice every day the tongue twisters and things like that. And it's also to this point where I feel like a lot of my followers know that it's like not like that difficult for me. You know what I mean? They're like, Wait
a second. You said tongue twisters.
Yeah.
Do you know Betty Botter?
No.
What do you mean you don't know Betty Botter?
I don't know that one. No.
What?
I don't think I've ever heard of it.
Oh, okay.
Betty. I think I know like the old school, like how much wood could a woodchuck chuck?
No, Betty Botter. Is B hard to say?
B is. I don't even know if I could say that. Betty Botter.
Yeah. Wow. Wait a second.
Yeah, this might be one I don't know how to do, man. You might have got me right here.
This is one of my favorite ones. Betty Botter had bought some butter, but she said this butter's bitter. If I put it in my batter, it will make my batter bitter. But a bit of better butter, butter. That will make my batter better. So she bought a bit of butter, better than a bit of butter. And she baked it in batter, and the batter was not bitter. So it was better. Betty bought a baked a bit of better butter, or bought a bit of better butter.
Wow.
But you gotta say it fast.
Yeah, I'm not.
All right, I'm gonna. I'll comment on your latest post and challenge you.
Comment, because Betty bought.
Betty
I could try the first part. Betty bought some butter. That's hard because it's all B's. So
Betty Botter bought some butter.
Betty Botter bought some butter. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's daddy daughter dot some butter. That's how you want to think of it. So daddy daughter dot some butter. Daddy daughter dot some butter. Daddy daughter bought some butter. Daddy daughter bought some butter. Daddy daughter bought some butter. Butter.
Wow, amazing.
It's just repetition. Yeah, it's like I have to like look at it and repeat it a bunch of times, basically.
That's amazing. It's crazy to look at you and see the progression actually happening in your brain, like right
Yeah.
here in front of me.
I'm a freak.
No, but it's cool because you're legitimately following your own advice. Also, like
Honestly, it's just like I feel like it was from like the ventriloquist convention. Is like learning those basics of especially like putting your tongue on the roof of your mouth. That's like the number one thing I can say. It's like because when you're talking, your tongue is hitting the roof of your mouth when you're talking.
Okay.
And so you're not really using your lips that much. Your lips are just for P, M, and B, right?
Oh.
Like butter, popcorn,
Yeah.
mother. You're putting lips together for that. But if you're saying like Godzilla or Coca-Cola, you're not putting your lips together. You're going Godzilla, Coca-Cola. You
Wow.
know, like you're not using your lips for that. You know.
Amazing. Okay, I want to know, how do you stay motivated to continue to come up with new content and material for your performances?
When money's down, no, I'm just kidding. I'd say for content, it's one of those things where I always try, especially if I'm like wanting to be more consistent with my content. Now I feel like I'm just kind of just posting freely or just like, I like to post like things I think are challenging now because it's like if I do like supercalifragilisticexpialidocious for like the 9th time, it's not like fun anymore. I'm like, I've done this so many times.
Is there any like simple word that is really hard to say, like Jasper?
Dude, the hardest
some
word to
random-
say, and I think this is the one I never say this in my act. I don't think I ever say it in general. Is people. People. It's like so hard to say, man. I can't.
What?
I can't say it. It sounds like
People?
teetle. Yeah, it's honestly it's the hardest word. Like bottle of beer is easier than that, in my opinion.
Deeple or people.
Bottle of beer. Bottle. Wait, I almost moved my lips. Bottle of beer. Bottle of beer. Beer. But people, it's like people. People.
Wow.
That's it sounds like teetle. Like I always avoid that word.
Interesting.
Yeah. Every is hard too. It's like every. That's hard. That's a hard one. Yeah. Every and people are probably the two most basic words that I don't usually.
Are there any like longer words that are really hard to say?
The one that I do in my act, like Numina ultra microscopic silico volcanoconiosis, that's like the longest word in the English dictionary.
Yeah.
That one's actually pretty easy.
That's
Like
easier than people.
that's easier than people.
Wow.
Like that's just like Numina ultra microscopic silico volcanoconiosis, Numina ultra microscopic silico volcanoconiosis, Numina ultra microscopic silico volcanoconiosis. That's easier than people. Yeah.
Wow.
And every too.
Every.
Yeah.
That's amazing. They should have like a people. Well, I don't know. Is there any like contests for ventriloquists that are like, okay, if you can say this, the best person to say this, say people wins, sort of thing?
I don't think there's contests anymore. I think there probably was like the 80s. But now like I said, now it's like I think the peak for any ventriloquist as far as like a media thing is America's Got Talent. Like that's like I think the goal as far as like where any ventriloquist like that like that's like the dream. Like that was always my dream, and like the fact that it happened and went well was awesome. It was
What's crazy about even society right now? It's like that's the peak. Although to me, I look at your account, you have 1.4 million followers. You could post a video today and potentially reach 14 million.
I think what it is it's like the difference between new media and old media. Like there's still that like weird correlation with old media that kind of puts you on a weird pedestal. But I've always said this: the times I have been recognized in public, I've never gotten recognized for America's Got Talent. I've only gotten
Right.
recognized
Exactly.
for my TikTok.
Exactly.
I had some guy the other day. I was at Cantor's, in West Hollywood.
Sure.
And I'm like with my girlfriend, and we're waiting in line. This guy like taps me on the shoulder, and he goes, "Do it." And I'm like, "What?" And I'm like, "Oh, you've seen my videos." He goes up to his friends, like, "Yeah, this guy, he can delay his voice." And I'm like, "Hey." And they're like, "Whoa!" That's fun. I actually don't mind. Like, I like it when
How'd you come up with that skit? Like that idea? Let me delay my voice. Like,
I'd seen some. It's so funny is like I saw some video of somebody who wasn't even a ventriloquist kind of doing something similar to that.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, this is funny. Like I'll do that. And I did like a video of like me being like, okay, I'm a ventriloquist. I do this to freak out my friends. And I'm like, hi. But the delayed thing on the street was because, and that's the funny thing is, I don't think no one's ever done that. I don't think anyone's ever gone up to people and started like delaying their voice, especially like scaring them, and they're like, what the,
Yeah.
like, so.
you know what? Actually, just watching one of them, I thought how crazy it would have been if you were also doing the voice for the other person.
There's some I do.
That's insane.
Yeah, there's some that I do. Like I'd say it's like now more of them I do the other voice. Like because I didn't like for a lot of them I didn't like going up to people because it felt so awkward, like going up to strangers and just doing it. Because there would be so many takes where their reaction would just be normal. Like they just think there's something wrong with me. They'd be like, yeah, it's that way. You know what I mean? Like they wouldn't like be like, oh, so I would have to like film like 20 of them a day to get like one reaction.
Oh,
And luckily the funniest ones are the ones like where people get angry. And so many were like, you're gonna get hurt, but luckily I haven't gotten, nothing's ever like that happened to me. But like that actually came from a video of me responding to a comment, because a lot of them were me responding to my comments, and it was basically like, do this in a Starbucks. And I was like, the response I made was like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna go into a Starbucks and be like, hey, I'd like to order a large coffee, and
wait, did you do that?
I didn't do that, but that was what spawned the first video of me doing it. Because
Got it.
all the comments I like had like, over 5,000 comments just being like, do it, you have to do it. You have to do it. I'm like, oh no, I have to do this now. So that was the first video of that week where every video like when I did that week hit over 3 million views. Because I think it was like, it's like when you do something new that's never been done before, I think on social media, it's like striking gold.
Yeah, totally.
Like there's still a clip that like it's probably my funniest video. I don't know if you could pull it up. It's where I'm wearing like this champion shirt. It's I'm wearing a green and yellow shirt, and I'm delaying my voice. But that video has been resurfaced by so many other accounts. Like some other account posted it on their Instagram, and it has more views than any of my videos on Instagram. It got like 25 million views on using my video. It's that one.
Here?
Yeah, I reposted this video being like, oh yeah, this was like the one that kind of like made me like, hit these.
No, something else.
But yeah, basically like that's like the one that kind of like really blew up. This is like a year later after I posted it, and it still did pretty well. But I think the original has like, I want to say 14 to like 16 million views now. But yeah, this video has been used on Instagram, and it has like 25 million views on someone else's account.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what are you doing here?
So right now I'm like, I think I'm like, hey, like the weather, it's crazy. And the guy's like, can I swear on this? Or he's like,
I'll just.
He's like, yeah, the f is wrong with your mouth? Yeah, he's like, it's not moving, and I'm like, what? It's just my voice. He's like, get out of here.
That's classic.
Yeah, and every time when I've worn this outfit, like I've worn that same like sweater.
Yeah,
I feel like I've gotten recognized the most because it's from this video.
Get out of here.
Yeah, he's like, get out of here.
He needs to be a character.
Yeah, no, that's such a funny. It's still probably my favorite.
Let's give that orange guy that voice.
Yeah,
he's cool.
I kind of want to.
Yeah, go. Oh, the bird. Yeah, do it. He squeaks in the inside.
This one's an interesting one. I don't even know.
It's kind of like a.
Is this? He's got like paper. Oh wow.
Yeah.
I don't even need to talk. He can just do that. His mouth move? Yeah.
Get out of here! Get out of here! Look at you with your mouth. Yes, move it.
I'm trying to.
Move it. Look at this guy. His college shit. Ugh. My arms. You're moving my arms. They're not moving.
No, they're not.
They're not.
They're not.
They're not. Not.
No, no.
That. No. No. Yeah.
Hello, hello. Hi.
Ah. I got big bushy eyebrows.
It's funny. Is
Basically,
Sorry.
my whole head trying to fly away.
Can you fly?
Really?
Yeah, can you fly?
Really?
No, I'm just asking you a basic question.
I'll fly on your head.
Okay. You're going to fly on my head?
Yeah, and then I'm gonna take a big doo-doo.
Big doo-doo?
Yeah, big doo-doo. I like taking big doo-doos.
Okay. We understand your love for taking doo-doos.
My favorite. You know what that means?
What?
Doo-doo time.
Okay. I like how they're just like lifeless.
right?
Yeah, that's so funny.
Yeah, maybe that's like we were saying, like you're saying in the beginning, how I guess in the past they thought these things were haunted.
Yeah,
People that did these voices.
exactly.
When did that switch? They're like, oh, this is just entertainment.
Yeah, honestly, it's switched with like the resurgence, like vaudeville, basically in like the early 1900s.
What's vaudeville?
It's just like old, like kind of like performance, basically. So, performers, they would have like tuxedos on, and they would be singing. It's like an old school variety, essentially. And it's like when everybody talked like this, like hey, like oh nuts. And so it's like when people like did that, and the ventriloquists wear tuxedos, they usually have like matching outfits with their character, basically.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like what I'm with this new show that I'm doing.
Do you have a name for the show?
Yeah, it's My Lips Are Sealed.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there's a thing where it's just like you're going back and forth with the character, and like for instance, this one I have him on my knee, like an old school ventriloquist, like he's just like on my knee basically.
Sure.
For the majority of the show, Jackie Diamond, and it's like mixture of the old and the new, I think. Yeah.
Do you do any crowd work at all? Like,
Yeah, I actually kind of want to do that in the beginning of the show, just to do some fun stuff, like maybe like turn somebody into a puppet. That sounds horrifying. I'm gonna turn you into a puppet.
I've seen that one lady. She did where she put a mask and had a.
Oh yeah, Nina Conti.
Yeah.
She's actually one of my favorite ventriloquists too. It's really funny because that character Jackie Diamond, who used to be Sugar Daddy Marv, that was actually her mentor's character originally, Nina Conti's, and I've just been lucky to be the owner of it now. But yeah, she actually made a whole documentary about that in like the mid 2000s called Her Master's Voice, and it was all about that like head, like because ventriloquist dummies basically they consist of two parts: the body, which is like a non-moving body, like just like dead body, and it sounds so weird, just a dead body, and then the head, which has a control stick connecting. That's how all like the eyebrows and like the it can blink and move its mouth. Basically, you control it basically with your hand and a head stick. So that's what you don't see essentially. So it's a whole. Those are much harder to manipulate than just like say a puppet.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff that goes on because he can blink, can raise his eyebrows, and there's some that could like stick out their tongue. They could like raise their lip. All this crazy stuff. There's some that like I've seen that they could even smoke. Like smoke comes out of their mouth.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's wild. But those are like those with like all those features are like $10,000.
So what is like the average puppet cost or ventriloquist dummy cost?
Like the average like starter like good one I would
Yeah.
say would just be like puppet wise would be like 100 to 150 I'd say.
Okay.
And
Just like regular. Well, my puppets are like $10. $15.
yeah. I mean, yeah, exactly. You could have something like this one he's like kind of just like I like it because he's unique. This like was probably like $20.
Yeah.
And the ventriloquist dummies are a lot more expensive.
Okay.
So the starter ones, those would range from like 60 to 70. That's like with the string, like the really like cheap looking ones. Like that's like the one I started out with. But past that, it goes up a lot. Like just one with like the mouth like that looks okay would probably be like 800, I'd say.
Whoa.
And then past that would just one with like moving eyes, moving lips, or not moving lips, yeah, like moving mouth.
That would probably be like I'd say the average would probably be like a really good one. It's like 3,000 to 5,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about like the most expensive one?
The most expensive one I've seen usually would be like something like it was called a McElroy. They're like the rarest. Go for like I think now it's probably anywhere between like 25, 30,000.
Okay.
Yeah, there's probably some that are more rare, like Edgar Bergen, who's like kind of like one of the most
Like
well
a
known.
vintage one.
Yeah, that one I think is in the Smithsonian, but that one would probably like that one would like range like I would assume that would go for like over 100,000 if it was selling, you know.
What do you think the future of this career is?
Like my career specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hopefully it's just me having a residency, something where I can just do what I like love and share like my act and just make as many people laugh and kind of just bring new life to the art form and just a newer face, I'd say, and while simultaneously making like videos as well, because I do like making videos. We talked about burnout and things like that. It's like as much as like we get burnout, it's like I think you and I are, it's like it's in anyone in this position, we're like lucky that we even are in this position to get burnout.
Right.
Yeah. Like I did, and it happens. I feel like, I don't know if this is for you, but I feel like it happens so quickly when you're grinding. You're not even like thinking about how like this is happening. I feel like now I can reflect on it. But while it was happening, I wasn't really like, wow. I mean, I was like, oh, this is crazy. But now it's like, I don't know. I don't think about like the follower count like every single day. Like that's not something I think about. But before I had followers or anything like that, I was thinking like, oh, like I would be like, hey, look at me. You know what I mean? Like, look at this. I got all these followers. I don't think about that at all. You know what I mean? Like it's just like something like I think that's like a side product of what we do.
So I mean, you could do a course. You're gonna do a show.
Yeah,
you're gonna be in Vegas one day.
Yeah, exactly.
Are there like puppet products that you could sell?
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be fun to have
Like
definitely like little versions of my characters. I don't know how I would do that with Jackie Diamond.
Like a little version of like Scrappy?
Yeah, exactly. Like this. I mean, this guy is like a copyrighted guy, so I couldn't sell this guy.
Sure.
But something like a version of like a different version of Jackie Diamond or other characters that I have that's like smaller. I think that would be so fun, especially for kids.
So like for example, Toily over there. You see Toily?
That's awesome.
Are you familiar with Toily?
I think I have seen his videos. Yeah.
So Toily had a run where he sold those puppets that were for sale. But I bought one.
That's awesome.
Had to buy one.
That's a good looking puppet too.
Yeah, that's just a recreation. That's not like
that's not the original.
No,
the original Toily. No. Yeah, that's
you want to see it?
Yeah, I'm down. I didn't even notice all this stuff over here. That's cool.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, man.
Bringing Toily on. I didn't have. Funny enough, when Toily was here, I did not have him. He was in the storage unit, so I brought him out for this. Oh, he's completely. Whatever. Yeah, that's good.
I'm trying to think of like what voice to give him. Like
Toily has like this kind of voice, like really high voice.
I have anxiety.
You have anxiety?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I'm afraid someone's gonna constantly use me.
Oh,
That's awful. That seems like
It's such a bad existence. I live my life constantly in fear.
yeah, that kind of what he sounds like. Aw. He's very, very positive though. Yeah, sorry. He's much more positive than that.
Yeah.
There you go.
Ow! Just hit me in the face.
I'm sorry, it's so empty.
He always Toilet always does the poop word of the day. It's time for the poop word of the day. Today, instead of taking a poop, why don't you say you're dropping the kids off at the pool?
Dropping the kids off at the pool. yeah, it's
He's like a depressed toilet.
That's what it is. Hello, darkness, Niall.
Here, wait. Can you throw me the orange one or the girl one or whatever? Or either one.
Oh yeah.
I'll be one of them. Oh.
I
Well, we're gonna have the same voice.
Good. We're out of the
Hello.
nice conversation, aren't we, Jackie?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are. It's great to be here.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to you.
Yeah.
And hi.
What's your name?
Yeah, what's your name?
My name's Susie.
Oh, hi, Susie.
Hello.
It's good to see you. Man, this is like a fever dream. Yeah, it's a nightmare. I don't know.
I don't know. It was a nightmare.
That is. Okay. None of you guys.
Wait, give me the bird.
Wait, where's the?
that one's the bird. The green one.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, the bird.
I got confused.
You be the bird. Whatever.
I'm colorblind right now.
Yeah, it's funny. I didn't have all these with Toily. Him and I we just talked, but and then we played with the games at the end. Hi. I got no voice, bro. They're all the voices sound the same.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a different voice he could be.
Hey, Toily. I could talk like this. I could the Italian man. I don't know. My name is Toily.
Or it could be like I don't know.
I kind of like this voice.
You do?
Yeah, I really talk like this. That's my voice.
Okay.
Maybe that's what I sound like.
Yeah. Hey, just before we keep talking, none of you guys have to go, right?
To the bathroom. I was like, I can't. I don't know how you do this. How do you separate the characters? Like, think for this person and for your actual, yeah.
For myself, I think it's just like you just have to like have like a constant awareness of like, you know, what's going on at all times, like what's happening and your spatial awareness. I think, you know,
You're looking a little sweaty.
why do you care about my sweat?
Because I'm made out of paper and I want to touch you.
Touch me.
Yeah.
Okay,
What about Scrappy? What would Scrappy do?
Scrappy? Let's see.
Oh, little Scrappy. I love you, Scrappy. This is the first time I've ever seen a little talking doggy before.
It is?
Yeah.
Wait, let me get you guys both here.
You got it. Okay.
Oh, hi, Scrappy.
Hi, it's good to see you, Toily.
Can I take a bite?
What?
Gonna take a bite of me.
Yeah. Oh,
Ah! Oh
Okay, I don't even need to do it. It's sound effects.
I'm allergic to dogs. Hi there.
Yeah, that's fun. It's a good character.
no! Toily's the best.
Yeah, no, this is like a really funny character.
I got to introduce you to him as well. He's a awesome
I
guy.
hopefully I didn't disrespect the Toily.
We got him, guys.
Yeah,
we got him.
Yeah,
We got him.
he's like, this has all been a setup.
It's all just
You're getting
set up.
sued.
You're sued.
This is defamation of Toily.
Is anything like that ever, like, what are the lines when it comes to this stuff? Like, are you not allowed to hold other, like, I don't understand. Is there like a
Yeah, I mean, I'd say like if it's not
like a
if-
creed, like a ventriloquist creed?
Yeah, I mean, you can't like. It's like if you were to take like one of Terry Fator's or Jeff Dunham's characters and just like have the same name, you would probably get sued for sure. But
So, like,
you could have like I'd say you could have something that looks similar to a character, but just have like a different voice and
Like trademark? Like,
yeah, exactly. There's
copyright?
exactly yeah. Like if you can't like use like you wouldn't be able to use like a Kermit the Frog basically like
Sure.
as your puppet. You know, like that would just you definitely get sued. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah. All right. How about, how do you see your work as a puppeteer and ventriloquist impacting the world around you?
Whoa. I just think like in the long run, it's all entertainment, really. It's all just like a form of entertaining people, making some. It's like a cliche thing, but it's like an escape from what people are doing in life. It's like music. It's just another medium of entertainment. I think it does like it's like anything. I think it helps the world in a positive way because I think it shows talent. I think it shows comedy. It's all like aspects of that. So I think in that sense, it helps people kind of just escape from whatever they're doing in their lives, and especially for an individual as well. If anyone wants to do it, it is fulfilling because I think you can reach those heights in ways that would be. I think if you're dedicated to ventriloquism, it's just cool because you're doing something that's pretty unique as well. Like it's not like singing. Like a lot of people sing. It's so hard to make it as a singer, but you're just there's a lot of singers. How can you have your own unique voice? And it's even finding more uniqueness with something like that in ventriloquism. ventriloquism.
Jack, where can people find you?
All Puppet Jack. Those are my social media handles. All lowercase Puppet Jack with an underscore. Instagram, TikTok, YouTube.
Cool. I also have your name here, Jack Williams. Thanks, Jack. Thanks for being here.
It's been awesome. Nice meeting you, man. I'm glad I could bring these characters to life. And yeah, it was awesome chatting with you, man.
Okay, cool. Stick around. We're gonna do some games. Here we go. Well, I've got some games here.
Okay, cool.
First one's called What Am I?
Ooh.
And I'm going to give you a bunch of clues. They all point to the same thing. In between each clue, you're going to guess and try to guess what it is.
Okay. I'm usually not good at these games, so this is exciting.
Do you want to try Scrappy? See if Scrappy may be good? Or
Yeah.
Well, we'll go one and then the other.
How about this? Is there multiple like individual games? Yes. Okay, I'll do one by myself, and then Scrappy does the other.
All right, here we go. We can do. Okay. Ready? What am I? I am a comfy place to be.
Bed.
No, I'm considered home to many.
Doghouse.
No, if I'm a hornets, don't stir me up.
Nest. Hornet nest.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Got it. Easy. That's it.
What was the home one?
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm considered a home to many, like maybe home like to bees or something.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Got you.
Maybe we can do one more. All right. What am I? I can be eaten.
Candy.
Nope. I'm very healthy.
Vegetables.
No. Cookies sometimes include me.
Chocolate chips.
Nope. I belong to the grass family.
A grass family. A lawn.
No. I'm good source of fiber. I'm a good source of fiber.
Raisin bran.
Nope. I am not cream of wheat, but close.
Oats.
Oh,
Oatmeal.
yeah.
There we go.
Got it. All right. You want to try another one?
Yeah. I can get Scrappy.
Let's try.
Scrappy, you gonna answer?
Oh, yeah, I'm gonna answer and I'm gonna be really scrappy while I do it. Yeah.
Here we go. What am I? I'm a fixture.
Light bulb.
No. Sometimes I stink.
Fart.
Nope. You can find me on most airplanes.
Attendant.
No, I might be your destination.
I don't know. Let's just say something. Ohio.
No, my paper isn't used for writing.
Plane.
No, in some places I'm just a hole in the ground.
Do you know it? No. Do you? No. Thorough.
No, when I get clogged, take the plunge.
Plunger.
No, what am I with the initial T?
Tarantula.
No, it's like right next to you.
Toilet.
Yeah, toilet.
Yeah.
Yeah, good job.
I did terrible. We both did. It's okay.
Want to try another one?
Yeah. No, it's all good, man. I mean, any game I feel like I play with that's gonna be like this it's not gonna be great. So
Fair enough.
But
Not meant to be.
Are there any guests that get them all right?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. That's the point is actually to kind of just get them wrong.
Yeah,
It's for fun.
I think that's what makes your videos so funny is like the answers that are so wild. When you get people, especially around here, you probably get so many crazy characters.
Totally.
That one, that's so funny. That one, I remember seeing your videos. That one kid who was like wearing a shirt inside out.
Yeah.
It's like such a fun kid.
Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah.
Do you still interview him?
I will when I get back to New Jersey.
Oh, nice.
He lives in New Jersey.
Oh, he lives in New Jersey.
Yeah,
That's so funny.
So I'll go like in July and August, and I'll be in Ocean City, New Jersey for like July and August, and then I'll just set up a station and be there every night from like 7 to 9, and then kids will just walk by.
That's cool. For some reason, I thought this was here.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because for a while when I got back, I was posting videos like every day that I was. But all right. So let me see. Do you like Would You Rather?
Yeah.
Would you rather make it into the Guinness Book of World Records for surviving the most shark attacks or the most lightning strikes?
Oh, I would definitely choose lightning strikes for real because I just hate sharks. Like sharks terrify me.
Fair enough.
Yeah, just like I was once like almost stranded out in the middle of the ocean.
What?
Yeah, like I went on vacation with my best friend. His family is Panamanian, so we went to Panama, and I went on a longboard out in the ocean, and I never had been on a longboard before ever, and I just didn't really understand. Like this is how dumb this was. I didn't understand the concept of like current drifting you out to sea.
Sure.
So, dude, I was like drifted I didn't take into account how far I was going from the beach, and it was the wind was taking me so far out that like I had looked back and I realized that like the people on the beach like started to look like little ants. That's how far away I was.
Wow.
So I kept drifting out more and more and more. And so I was like, just like when the wind stopped, I was just in the middle of the ocean, just lying there like for an hour just in the middle of the ocean because I couldn't like didn't have the strength. And this guy, I thought that I was literally gonna die. Like this guy from the beach was like waving his arms from the beach. I could see like him from way far away, and it takes him like 30 minutes to get to me, and he's just like this like jacked dude with like these insane like silver eyes, and he's like, I will help you. Like I'm not even joking. It's like it was like something out of a movie, and like he was like, all I need you to do is kick, and I'm like, okay. So I like use my legs as like you know like a motor, and he just had these like, huge arms. It just was like, and he was like making all these like grunting noises like while he was like trying to go to like, the beach, and he like saved my life. So it's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I know. It's just a little side story, you know.
Amazing.
Yeah.
The best side story I've ever heard from a Would You Rather
Yeah.
in my life.
His name was Angel. Yeah, he was really, and that was the craziest part of that whole thing was that I was telling this story to the family that I was with. Like I was saying everything that had happened. I was saying like, yeah, this guy with like silver eyes came to like save me.
Wait.
And he was in the restaurant in a
okay.
completely.
I thought you were going to say you made him up. And it was
No,
a vision.
that
It was
would
a
be
ghost.
awful. I would hate that. He was in the restaurant and he was like, no problem, buddy. like this was like miles away from where we were staying. But it just happened to be like he was like listening.
Wow.
Yeah, it was wild.
That's out of a movie. That part's out of a movie.
Yeah,
for sure.
that was it was yeah, I still can't believe that was that.
Or they would be like, oh, the guy with the silver eyes, he got to you too.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's all
Doesn't
made
exist.
up.
He's all made up.
It was all me.
Local legend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Could you imagine?
I can't. I honestly can't. I can't
Sounds
even
like it was
believe
Aquaman.
Yeah.
It was Aquaman.
That dude might have been Aquaman because like, he was going through some heavy waves. Like his arms were like knives, like chopping through these waves. You know.
All right, people. Well,
People.
say I have cards that like just say random things. I can give you topics and just like
Yeah.
to talk about if you want to talk about with Scrappy or
What's the people thing? I'm kind of interested in that.
like for example, I could I've had people that can do impressions. Like one girl, she could do the minions, so I would be like, do the minions as if they were a weather person.
I feel like I can only do like a mediocre Simon Cowell because I had like a month to practice, and I can do an okay Obama. The Simon was like I feel like I learned like 4 lines, so it's like literally just me being like, this is absolutely dreadful. Like that's all I could learn how to sign. He's like, okay, like everything's very up here. It's like almost sounds like Snape in a weird way, you know?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh. And then Obama is kind of like, now I'm here to talk to you and do this podcast today. And everything is punctual and factual. And when he talks in a speech, it gets to be like this. And he might pause and then he might go on. So everything I'm saying, it sounds like this, and then it sounds like that. So I make a point. I have my dogs. I love them. They're great. I love my wife, and I love my country.
Wow. That reminds me of the TED Talk about nothing. Have you ever seen that? Just watch that.
A TED Talk. Yeah, I'm trying to think. The other. I mean, how many? Like, I feel like so many people do impressions of like the Joker. I think that was like kind of like a meme. Like people, like guys who do Joker impressions. Like they go on like a first date with a girl, and they're like, "Oh, I can do an impression of the Joker." You know what I mean? Like, I got these scars. You know. I don't know. Yeah, it's like
You're actually quite good at impressions.
thank you.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where I feel like I could be good if I practice as much as I did like ventriloquism. you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. What about you? Can you do any?
Impressions?
Yeah.
I don't think so. No. Not
You're like,
really.
I do the impression of
like-
myself.
Yeah.
That's the best one I do.
Yeah, that's
you
it.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I think that's the thing I've always wondered is like ventriloquism. It's one of those things where, you can have like jokes in between. I feel like and it's even hard making a long show doing ventriloquism, but doing a long show just impressions, I feel like that would be really hard because you got to like come up with bits for each one of like the impressions,
Yeah.
I feel like Trump is such a hard impression to do, when people do it, I'm like, that's always so impressive to me because he has so many different like parts to his voice. I don't even want to attempt it. It was so bad, you know?
It's easier to just make up your own character.
Yeah, exactly. Like a guy who sounds reminiscent of Trump.
Or what was his name again?
Foster?
Foster.
Yeah.
So like, how'd you come up with Foster?
Foster was like kind of just like a gravelly voice that I could do pretty easily, and he was one that where I wouldn't I like to make my voices where like I don't strain my voice essentially. Like especially like Jackie Diamond, he's like a lesser strenuous voice than when I was doing Sugar Daddy Marv, because Sugar Daddy Marv, that character
had like really gravelly voice that was like right here, and it would be like this, and I would have like all these.
like I'd be talking like from here, it would sound like this scary man, but like Jackie Diamond's like
He's more like up here, and everything he's saying is kind of like it's less like
It's less down here.
more like this, but it still can kind of go up and down a little bit.
you know.
Wait, did you ever? You know how you do that delaying your voice thing? You ever do that, but with that deep voice like that?
I've done videos where it's like I have somebody talking to me, like they're talking to me, like, oh hey, how's it going? They're like,
Oh, it's going good.
is it?
It's going great.
Really? Yeah, really? Yeah, really? Yeah. You know.
What about when you're just not even? So instead of moving your mouth like delayed, what about not even moving your mouth at all?
I've tried doing that. It's so interesting but for some reason, like the delay thing just does so much better. Like I don't know why. Like
Very visual.
yeah, it's very visual, and it's like I think the thing it's weird because a lot of people like are like oh you're you know, they could comment like, oh you're you know, using a voiceover, but when I'm doing these videos on the street and things like that, you can see like I have a prominent Adam's apple, which is like perfect why this mic is like covering it really well.
Oh, yeah.
But like you can see in the videos it's clearly moving, so it's like if I was doing a voiceover, it would just be like this. I'd be
Yeah, nothing.
hello there, you know, like, you know, but like instead if I move like this.
Do you ever do like a combination of a voiceover plus some ventriloquism? I can barely say the word.
Ventriloquialism. That's like another. No, I've never ever used a voiceover.
I mean, it's just a skit, and that
That's true. It's funny, but that's the thing is, if I did that, then people I feel like would be like, he's been doing it the whole
but
time.
maybe
That's true. Yeah,
you know,
it's
and then
funny.
you got the commenters like hopping in,
Yeah, that's so funny because like I always feel like
spark a new wave of like.
I feel like it's so funny when you add like something in a video, you just know.
You should come out and be like, guys, I'm sorry, I have to tell you, this whole time,
Even America's Got Talent.
even it was
It was
all
all a track.
a track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you know what's so funny is like what was I just gonna say? Like, yeah, I feel like people just want to
Because that's what they want.
they want that thing to comment about. Like I love to just like there's one video that I did really well where it's like, can you say preposterous without
Preposterous.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's preposterous, but the spelling of the word was like completely wrong. And I was like, I'm just gonna do it anyways. It was like proposterous or something like that. And everyone commented like, the word's spelled wrong. It's
Yeah.
actually like this. And it's like,
Of course.
you sometimes it's like you could do something intentionally wrong and that gets like so many people to comment. You know?
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
like, wow, this is like I should do this more often for 25
One of my
bucks.
friends, he would always include a bottle of ranch in the back of his, like every scene for no reason at all. There's just a bottle of ranch, just for the comments, you know.
Yeah.
random.
You have to. It's like something to add to like the overall video. Yeah.
Well, how do you feel about going to the streets and
Oh, I'd be down. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I'd be down to like
doing
film
the
stuff.
the throwing the voice thing, or maybe
Yeah. Hello.
yeah, or
Hi.
what's it called when you start talking to somebody in there?
Oh yeah, the
You ever-
the delayed thing.
You ever like fake it? Like
Yeah.
I could be the guy just respond.
Yeah, no,
Responding to you.
for a couple of the videos, it was like I think it's like pretty clear. Like some of them are people that like I knew me, and I just would go up to them and do it. You know,
Okay.
so like a couple of them were like
Like I got a guy.
Yeah.
The guy outside selling empanadas.
yeah,
friend.
exactly. Yeah, like one of the
He doesn't like to be filmed, but
yeah,
you know.
like one of the guys was
I got another lady. I got
one one of the guys was just like in the parking lot doing it, like, or I just went up to him, I knew him in the parking lot, and he would like, you know, but he always had he was so funny to talk to. So I was like, oh, this guy's gonna have like an amazing reaction,
Right.
you know. And yeah, like the thing is, I feel like now I don't know, I don't like, just for some reason I don't like doing it as much anymore unless I like think of like something different. Like I said, I just want to do something different. You know what I mean? So it's
Okay.
like I as much as people like me going up to people and like getting screamed at or like having bad reactions, like
Yeah.
I just, for me, I've never like liked that. Like I think it's funny, like watching the video back, like I think this is like,
It is.
this is really funny.
Yeah.
But like in the moment, I'm like, this is uncomfortable. Like, I like doing it for like that spirit of time, but now, like I said, like I feel like I'm just focused on the live stuff and things like that. But if something new and funny comes to me, then I would definitely do it for sure.
Do you ever show like your puppetry to people on the streets, like just out of the
I've thought about that. I mean, I have never done like street performing or anything like that. The closest thing to doing that was when I was filming the entrances for AGT, like when you're outside and it's like, it's all led up to his journey, like leading to this moment. You're like looking at the theater. We were like filming outside, so there's a bunch of people like watching us.
Yeah.
And it was cool because you know, a lot of people came up to me and I got to have like the character and everything like that, and like interact with like strangers on the street with us. And you'd be surprised how many people are just like, that's like a normal LA thing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
It's like, it's just like looks normal. He just has a puppet.
Have you ever been anywhere that's like it's not normal and they're like giving you the look?
I would say, you know, it's so funny. I would say sometimes at comedy clubs, it definitely took people off guard. Like I just remember like I did like a set like at the Comedy Store one time, and I like walked on stage, and you know, when comedians just go up, they don't have anything with them.
Yeah.
I walk on stage with this big like black duffel bag. It's like, what does he have in that bag? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what's he gonna pull out? You know?
Whoa, yeah.
And but luckily, like I feel like that when I did it, it went well. And but like leading up to that, when you're in a club with like a big duffel bag, people are like, is this my last day? Like, what's going on here? You
Wow.
know? So
Oh, it's dark.
yeah. But that's like the only kind of like weird, I feel like weird response. Every time I've done it like in an environment where they know it's gonna happen, it's like very like normal. Like, I was seeing a show.
For sure.
Yeah.
Cool. Then we'll go walk around maybe for a little bit and then we'll call it a day.
Yeah, let's do it, man. I'm down. Thanks for having me.
Of course.